Hello everyone, my name is Aeron Emanuel A Villarin, and today I'm going to make a reaction video. So I'm going to watch the video. If you had the chance to be immortal, would you take it? Well, for me, it would be a very difficult question. Um, at the same time, I don't want to see my loved ones get pass away. Like, but like I said, at the same time, being immortal is cool. You can see everything, every moment, and every event that would happen on Earth. But the downside is that you will experience lots of suffering. So, well, basically, life is meant for you to suffer. It's not something to enjoy. It's to make you suffer. So now let's going. This video is from Deadhead. So now let's watch. One more thing about this video is that instead of watching in YouTube aimlessly, I got to speak my thoughts instead of just watching passively, which is not good. So I'm making a video so that you know I got to talk instead of just watching, which is not good. Okay, let's start.
While cleaning out your eccentric uncle's attic, you find a chest with a sparkling potion.
Sparkling
The
potion.
attached tag declares drinking this
Okay, I will give you awareness, guys, that I will pause every every now and then after this.
liquid will make you immortal.
Well,
Your body will be frozen at its current age,
Huh.
and you'll become immune to disease and serious injuries. These effects will be final and irreversible, guaranteeing your existence at least until the
wait. So in this scenario, I've been given a um, let's say immortality, so that you can also not experience like any kind of illnesses. Wait, hold on.
you find a chest with a sparkling potion. The attached tag declares drinking this liquid will make you immortal. Your body will be frozen at its current age, and you'll become immune to disease and serious injuries.
Well, if that's the case, this would be a very good option to become an immortal because you won't feel any serious injuries while you're being immune to any kind of illnesses and disease. That's a good option to become immortal. Even though your psychological or mental health can still be there, you will experience sadness and anxiety or any kind of those emotions, but at least you won't you won't be you won't experience any kind of disease. This would be a huge benefit for you when there's kind of pandemic or any kind of um, outbreak that would happen on earth for um, that would happen decades. Think about that one.
These effects will be final and irreversible, guaranteeing your existence at least until the heat death of the universe.
So basically, that's still not immortal though. That's not immortal. Immortality you would still survive at the heat death universe. So basically, you won't die. But in this scenario, I'm basically not that important.
The instructions are clear. The only question is, do we drink the potion?
Yes, absolutely yes.
Generally, people consider death to be bad. So bad, in fact, that our lives are filled with precautions against it. We often avoid overtly dangerous activities, and we willingly accept inconveniences to further reduce our chances of dying. But if you were immortal, you could live as dangerously as you like. You could pursue any goal on as long a timeline as you need. You'd be free to enjoy a boundless horizon of excellence.
Yes, you would experience lots of activities. Time won't be time won't be um time won't be that of a problem for you if you are immortal. But at the same time, having lots of time makes you suffer. For example, actually no. If you have lots of time, well then that's an advantage, not a disadvantage. Because if you have lots of time, then you won't suffer. You have lots of time to um, practice everything, um, revise everything, learn everything. But I don't know what's the disadvantage being immortal.
Exploration, pleasure, fulfillment, and novelty, all without the fear of death hanging over you. Despite this, British ethicist Bernard
I will
Williams
say
thinks there
immortality.
are plenty of reasons not to drink, most notably because an immortal life would be unbearably boring.
I would I would disagree because being an immortal, yes, it does bore you, but at the same time, you could do um you would think like something. I mean, there's a lots of options to do in life. So if you are an immortal, then you have a option to choose that. You have an option to do that. So if you are an immortal, you would not be bored.
Think of how your favorite things can become less enjoyable with
I
frequent repetition. Your 16th chocolate truffle doesn't bring as much pleasure as the first.
I
You might grow sick of truffles altogether if you ate them every day.
I
Following this logic, Williams argues that repeating the same activities for all eternity would be horribly monotonous. On the other hand, philosopher John Martin Fisher argues that while some pleasurable experiences do have diminishing returns, others don't. Surely watching a beautiful sunset would remain fresh even after thousands of years. And since we already tend to forget things in our human lifespan, it seems reasonable that after several centuries, you could enjoy a previously exhausted experience.
Yes.
Besides,
For example, I never played Minecraft for a decade now. I mean, for a for 5 years, and once I come back at the game, the enjoyment that I had uh, when I was a kid comes back. So that proves my point that being an immortal is not something you would be bored at. It's a advantage.
even if some pleasures fade, the pursuit of certain goals could last forever. Fisher and Benjamin Mitchell Yellen point out that even an immortal couldn't read every novel ever written while keeping up with new releases. And J.J.
True.
Wisniewski imagines
See, you have an advantage because everything you interact with will be there and will continuously be updated. So basically, everything is immortal. Every every psychological thing is an immortal being. I still can't completely explain what this phenomenon, I mean, what this thing is. But if you don't notice, everything is an immortal. Every object is an immortal. Well, no shit, they don't have life. But the thing is, if you are an immortal, then you would observe and um, see its changes, which is fascinating. While if you are an immortal, if you are immortal, then you won't see the evolution of that thing. You won't see that enjoyment of seeing something change after 1 million years.
An immortal musician.
Not to mention, the whole world is massive. The whole world is massive. So there's so many options.
Learns all existing instruments and any new ones that are invented. And those are just personal goals. An immortal dedicated to advancing various social causes would likely find their hands busy navigating a constantly shifting cultural landscape. Alternatively, perhaps the novelty sustaining your immortal life could come from within as you change what you value and pursue. After decades of painting, you might decide to become an astronaut, or a chef, or a farmer, each transformation opening up new experiences. However, Williams questions if anyone would actually want to live such an ever-changing lifestyle. Sampling every experience life has to offer would require living untethered to a core set of values or ambitions. And not only would this be profoundly destabilizing to your sense of self, over a long enough timeline, you'd probably come into conflict with your past selves. In such a situation, would you even care about your continued survival? Immortality skeptics often cite the painful prospect of outliving loved ones as a reason to remain mortal.
That's what I mentioned earlier. When you are immortal, then you would experience countless of loved ones being dead because of those because of your endless lifespan. You would experience multiple relationship if you can, and that's painful. But then if you are evil enough, you don't care about those. Like, they don't matter anymore because you're an immortal. Why would you feel that? But then, if you are a moral, um, let's say if you are a careful person, you care about everyone. Well, then this immortality is not a good option because of that. But if you think about it, the thing where the speaker Sarah, I think it's Michael Vazquez, that he mentioned that he would have a conflict with your past selves. I would also disagree about that because here's the thing: when I was a kid, my current me disagrees with my past self, even if I'm immortal right now. So that's a normal thing to experience.
But what about knowing that the current version of yourself could effectively die by morphing into someone totally different? Williams argues that living within the constraints of our own individual character is part of what makes life meaningful. Thinking about what makes life meaningful is very relevant here. After all, the ideal outcome of immortality is the ability to maximize life and the good things it contains. But philosopher Samuel Scheffler argues that temporal scarcity, meaning the lack of time, is essential to our valuing anything. It's precisely the fact that our time on Earth is limited that forces us to form our values and determine what things are worth doing with the time we have. For Scheffler, immortality undermines the very possibility of a meaningful life.
Well, you still can do that if you're immortal. You can still something. You will still find something valuable even if you are an immortal. That's true though. If you are a immortal, yes, you will still value time. Even if you have lots of time, you will still value time. But then again, if you are eh, actually, yeah, actually yes, you will still value time.
For these reasons and many more, some theorists consider eternal life more of a curse than a blessing. Then again, a couple of centuries of learning, loving, and chocolate truffles doesn't sound that bad, does it? So, will you drink your uncle's potion?
Yes, I would absolutely.
If you love learning,
But the cons though, if you are a bad person, you would suffer lots of time. Wow. If you are a criminal and you are an immortal, well, have fun the rest of your life in prison. If you are sentenced to life, well then you're there for the whole year. But I think it won't happen because you're you're eventually going to be older than the prison itself. But if you think about it, if that prison will continually be there, well, you're in misery because you're not going out of there because you're in prison for your entire immortality lifespan. Well, that's pretty much a curse now. But hey, if you are a good person, then you would experience life as a new kind of thing. It's special power. It's not it's not a curse, it's a blessing. You have lots of time to discover yourself. If you think that you are at least if you think that experiencing and changing who you are is a sad thing, well no, it's not. Because changing yourself is one of the fundamental change of yourself as a person, as a human being in Earth. Because if you think about it, every one of us is different. And by the time that you change in your life, that's basically a new person that you are born. So that's all. This is my reaction to Ted Ed. If you had the chance to be immortal, would you take it? So that's all for today, guys. Bye bye.